On your call, Madam Mayor. 7. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, can you hear? Okay. Good evening, everyone. The December 19th, 2023 Willingboro Township Council meeting is now called to order. Please stand to salute the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the following manner. Advance written notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal complex and was mailed to the Burlington.
Point of personal privilege. Mr. Harris, can IT turn up the volume or someone turn up the volume so the residents can hear a little better in the space?
Is that me? Or
No, it can't, no. Is there?
Sean, did you hear that request?
test?
Yes, working on it.
Got it.
Thank you. Yep.
Good enough?
Yes.
Okay. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the following manner. Advance written notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal complex and was mailed to the Burlington County Times, the Intelligencer, and the Courier Times. Advance written notice of this meeting was filed with the Township Clerk. The clerk is directed to enter into the minutes of this meeting this public announcement. Roll call. Councilman Nathaniel Anderson.
Present.
Councilwoman Rebecca Perone.
Present.
Councilwoman Tiffany Worthy.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Samantha Whitfield.
Present.
Mayor Kyle McIntosh.
Present.
Township Manager, Mr. Dwayne Harris.
I'm present.
Myself, Brandon Garcia, Township Clerk, and Township Solicitor Evan Crook. Present.
Present.
Thank you. On your call, Madam Mayor.
And you can proceed to the prayer.
Certainly. At this point in time, Madam Mayor, I do apologize. I do not have an individual for the prayer. I apologize for that purpose. If it's your wish, could we move on to the oath of office?
We can have a
Sorry.
prayer.
Is there one?
Mr. Harrison. No. Okay, Mr. Harris, could you do the honors of our prayer today, please?
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just once again thank you for your continued grace and mercy on us as individuals and on this Willingboro community. We ask that you continue to guide us, lead us, and direct us so that we do all things proper and in order. We give you praise and honor and glory for the sacrifice that you made for the redemption of our sins. We just thank you for this evening and this day. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Always willing to pray.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Harris, we can start with your municipal updates.
So good evening, Mayor and Council and residents of Willingboro, visitors and guests. Today, we are going to start our evening with swearing in some new police officers who have not found it robbery to come and serve the residents in this wonderful community of Willingboro. So at this time, I am going to invite Captain Bucks up, who will introduce our new members of our police team, and he will lead us through the swearing in ceremonies.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, Township Manager, and the wonderful residents of Willingboro. Again, I am blessed to be able to introduce you to 5 of our newest police officers and blessed to allow you guys to swear them in tonight. So first, we will, if I call your name, please step up. We'll bring up Officer Christian Aidens, Officer Emmanuel Smith, Officer Sean Willoughby, Officer Stephen Haynes, and Officer Pascual Vargas.
Right.
So Officer Aidens, Smith, and Willoughby attended the Camden County Police Academy for approximately 21 weeks, and they graduated on this past Thursday. Officer Vargas and Haynes attended the Gloucester County Police Academy, and they graduated on Friday. So what they've transitioned into our 14-week field training officer program, and upon the completion of their field training program, they will be assigned to various shifts within the patrol division. So at this time, if you guys kind of want to spread out a little bit, and if your family members want to come up, stand behind you for the oath of office, just turn around and face the mayor.
Good evening. Wait for the family to come out. Thank you. You don't have to do that. All right, we have everyone up here? All right. Okay. We will do the oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, say your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. True faith. To the same and to the governments established in the United States. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. And I will faithfully. Impartially. And justly perform all the duties. Of the office of police officer. According to my best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
So at this point, I would ask the officers to turn around and face the crowd. And if you have a family member or someone that you have chosen to pin your badge on your uniform, go ahead and give that badge to that person, and they will pin it on your uniform. Once again, congratulations. Now, if all the officers, oh, my bad.
Yep, he wasn't done pinning. He wasn't done pinning. Yeah. Congratulations and welcome to this awesome township of Willingboro. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We look forward to, you working with us and we working with you. So thank you again.
If I could just say a couple more
Yes,
things,
absolutely.
Mayor. So, you all know how passionate I am about, our community and our youth. And we have 2 police officers that were sworn in tonight that came through our youth police
Oh,
academy
wow.
program.
Wow.
That's gonna be Officer Christian Aidens,
Yes.
and Officer Sean Willoughby.
Okay.
So
Right.
we're going into our 14th year of the Youth Police Academy, and this is the 2nd and 3rd police officer that we've been able to hire, amongst our ranks. And they were also volunteer firefighters for Willingboro also. So, but I'm glad they
Wow.
chose the police department.
Yeah. Hey.
So, but I congratulate each and every one of you and welcome to the Willingboro family. And I wish you
Yeah.
nothing but success, throughout your careers. So thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys want to step outside.
Look at her smiling. Look at her smiling.
Thank you again, sir.
Mr. Harris, you can proceed.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. And another notable fact is every single one of those officers has either lived in Willingboro or graduated from Willingboro, so they have some type of personal connection to our community as well. So I just want to go through and highlight some of the elements from our report that was presented to you. I believe you received it online. This report generally outlines some of the revenues that were generated during the month of November with an accumulated total as of November 2020 or November 22nd, 2023. The revenue generated for the month of November was $242,728.20, which contributes to the realized year-to-date revenue totals of $2,608,587.64. These are really great numbers for Willingboro because when we generated our budget for 2023, our anticipated miscellaneous revenue was calculated to be $1,642,000, which means that with 1 month left in this year, that we have realized 159% of that revenue. Unfortunately, some of our license line came a little short, but I believe a large portion of that had to do with the state waiving particular license fees related to marriages and things like that. So our interest and investments and deposits also returned to us this year, $532,059, which was above our anticipated to our CFO being prudent and investing some of our reserve capital in sound municipal and state approved investments. For the month of November, our total revenue realized was $17,303,668.97, with the number previously stated being $242,728 being miscellaneous revenue, $16,784,724.71 being tax revenue. We received $200,072 from state aid and $39,135 from other revenues and $37,008 in miscellaneous revenues that were not anticipated. Other notable revenues received were our EMS fees, which have totaled $540,000 last year. This year, at the end of November, we have collected $765,828, which is a reflection of 131% over our budgeted numbers. We collected 130% more in our municipal leases, partially due to the increased rent being charged for our spaces, and particularly due to us actually collecting that revenue. And finally, we collected 123% of our delinquent tax revenue, with November revenue collection being very nominal at $234,600. That was not budgeted at all for senior and veterans deductions reimbursed from the state, which brings us to a total of 106% of our total anticipated revenue for the year so far. Our year-to-date revenues total $47,152,848.51, which excludes the disbursements of over $41 million for school board and county taxes. The reverse of our revenue is our expenditures. Our total disbursements for November equals $2,894,255 and some change, $337,868 being health insurance benefits, $1,086,525 in department operational expenses, $1,359,000 in payroll. There are a little over $97,000 in statutory expenses, And again, we paid out $6,547,551 in collected school tax revenues. So our year-to-date expenditures total $39,712,725. $39,712,700. I'm saying that wrong. 39 million. Yeah, that's it. Which represents a total of 88% of our total appropriations budgeted, excluding non-spending appropriations. So that means as the end of the month, we have spent 12% less than we anticipated in our budget preparation at the beginning of the year, with 1 month left to go in the year. On November the 15th, the township had a note sale, which we netted $4,628,210. That is when we took the permanent financing, all of the bond ordinance or some of the bond ordinances that we did over the year to generate revenues to do some of the projects that we have been working on. Even with the spike in interest rates, the municipality had 6 bidders, which is commendable due to the township's financial stability. The lowest winning bidder was Jeffries LLC at a competitive net interest cost of 3.95%, which equates to $181,352 in aggregate principal. And they will pay the municipality the $4,664,865 plus accrued interest from the date of issue to date of delivery. So that is just a little cap of where we are financially going into or almost at the end of the last month of the year. For the Willingboro Police, Willingboro currently now has 65 sworn officers, including the 5 that were just sworn in. I did report on some of the ordinance violations the police have been enforcing, but for the month, the police responded to 2,184 incidents, composed of 290 motor vehicle stops, 123 summonses were issued. They responded to 69 domestic disputes, 57 accidents, and they made 32 arrests during the month, just to highlight a few. In addition to their food deliveries that we reported at the last minute in the month for the month or during Thanksgiving, during November, the Community Engagement Unit prepared for their first raffle to be held throughout the school districts. They took raffle boxes and tickets and were delivered to the school, where each student was issued a single raffle ticket throughout the months of November and December. Students selected by the raffle will win an opportunity to choose a $100 gift certificate that will be given to them for Target, and the police officers will actually escort them and take them shopping to go and purchase their $100 gift selection. Also in November, the police department continued its participation with the Beloved Project through Moving Forward Mentoring Program. This program aims to provide guidance and life skills to at-risk youth between the ages of 13 and 18. Some of the lessons that were taught are importance of paying it forward and emotional intelligence. And on Thursday, on the 19th, the Willingboro Neighborhood Watch held its monthly meeting. Sergeant Hankey and Detective Coop spoke with the group about current crime trends and community engagement events. And there were approximately 25 Willingboro residents that were present there. The next meeting of the Willingboro Neighborhood Watch will be held on Thursday, January 18th at the Reaver Foster Senior Center. Again, our police are very involved and active in the community. On Sunday, November the 19th, Officer Landrum and Sergeant Thomas and Ms. Fodor were on location to greet and engage community members that were attending our community skate party between the hours of 1 and 3 p.m. at the rink in Delanco. There were over 100 community members that did attend, most of them youth. And they enjoyed a free slice of pizza and a small drink. And this party was made possible by a grant that was received by the police department from the Office of Resilience earlier this year. So overall, for the month of November, they had 36% less cases or crime cases compared to October 2023. That's down from 239 to 155. There was an 8% decrease in calls from 2,852 to 2,616. And this is just a reflection of the wonderful efficiencies our department is exhibiting here in Willingboro. So we thank the police officers and all the members that they work with for all the things that they do in our community. Our fire and EMS department, there were currently 2 new full-time firefighters that were hired in November. Firefighter Marcus Dawson was hired with the B platoon, and firefighter Vazay Child was hired into the A platoon. The fire department responded to 136 calls, and EMS provided services to 458 persons in Willingboro for the month of November. There were 6 building fires, 4 brush fires, and 6 motor vehicle accidents, just to categorize a sampling of the number of calls that they did respond to. And also in November, the fire and EMS staff did assist with food drives sponsored by the Willingboro Board of Education at the Country Club Administration Building. And on the 30th, there was 1 fire prevention presentation provided to 1st and 4th grade students at the Twin Hills Elementary School. So again, the fire and EMS are actively contributing to our community as well through their service. DPW has been very busy collecting leaves during this season. They have also been addressing potholes, and during the month of November, they filled 68 potholes with a year-to-date of 789. They also planted 10 trees that we received from Burlington County. 5 were on JFK Way in front of the Kennedy Center, and 5 were at Mill Creek Park on the entrance as you go in on the left-hand side. And they have collected so far 68 loads of leaves, totaling 1,490 cubic yards. Our inspections department, during the month of November, they completed 659 total inspections, wrote 287 violations, which resulted in 22 summonses. They did close out 324 cases, offered 47 extensions, and collected an additional $95,368 in revenue. For our senior services and community affairs department, they're continually providing classes and lectures to reinforce healthy living and as a way of life. They also hosted a complete care lecture called Ask the Nurse and a power of attorney presentation, both in November on the 21st. They did host a diabetes self-management program sponsored by Stanford University, which is a 6-session, 2.5-hour workshop designed for persons with diabetes. They continued their Food Smart for Adults, where they're offering nutrition tips based on what you like to eat, healthy recipes, and meal planning on a budget. They continue to offer their biweekly classes, yoga, exercise, Pilates, and things like that, and continue to offer their twice-a-month COVID-19 vaccination clinics, where they offer the Moderna, Pfizer, BioNTech, and Novavax vaccine. So they also provide flu shots, which are sponsored by the Southern Jersey Family Medical Center. So if there's any residents that desire to have a COVID shot or a flu shot, you can connect with the senior center or refer to the website to see the dates that are scheduled. Also in November, our Community Affairs Department mailed information to 25 Willingboro businesses regarding the New Jersey Economic Development Association. There was a small business e-commerce support program, which a grant opportunity was presented that provided free consulting and digital marketing services to New Jersey small businesses that particularly worked in the restaurant, retail, and personal care industries. The grant was to assist them with website development and website optimization, e-commerce platform, online ordering platform, and online appointment booking platform. And the award sizes were for restaurants up to $11,400, for retail stores up to $10,800, and for personal care businesses also up to $11,400. And just to remind our residents that they still have until Friday, December 29th, to apply for the New Jersey Anchor Property Tax Program. New Jersey has launched a new program last year to help homeowners and renters to save on property taxes. The Anchor Program, short for the Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowners and Renters, replaced the old homestead rebate. And you would be eligible for an anchor benefit based on your 2020 primary residence, your income, and your age. And if you meet those requirements, your 2020 gross income was not more than $150,000, and you rented and occupied a residence in New Jersey, and that was your principal residence, you would be eligible for this benefit. So again, the last day to apply is Friday, December 29th, 2023. For our human resources, we have, as previously stated, 2 full-time firefighters that were hired into the fire department. We have 5 total workers' compensation claims divvied out through Public Works, Public Safety, Police, and Fire departments. And there was just 1 new COVID-19 positive case. And finally, with our recreation, for the month of November, we had 648 program participants for the month. There were 65 facility rentals, including 6 rentals for the full banquet facility and 6 full rentals for the gym, totaling revenue through the month of November at $202,543. And those are just an update of what's been going on in the municipality fiscally and in our departments through November.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Does any council have any questions or comments for Mr. Harris's report? No, thank you. Okay, Mr. Harris, you can move on to the ordinance and resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. So the items being presented for your consideration this evening is ordinance number 2023, which is an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 257 of our township code, titled Peddling and Soliciting, Articles 2, which deals with introduction of a no-knock ordinance. This ordinance would essentially create a no-knock list where residents would have the opportunity to register on that list, and it would ban anyone that was obtaining a peddler's license or solicitor's license from knocking on their door and disturbing them. So we would have a sticker that they would be placed on their property. Anyone that comes in and receives a license or an application for a license would also receive the list, the no-knock list, and they would be bound to adhere to that. This would be enforced by the police department, and any violations would be subject to penalty in the court of law. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 270, which is a resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to award a contract to Grand Turk Equipment Company for the repair of an Elgin Whirlwind sweeper. You may recall at the last minute, or at the last meeting, we did an extension of the not to exceed amount for this organization, so they could go ahead and have the funding to make repairs to our sweeper that has been out of service for a few years now. We anticipate that cost will be $45,470 based on the quotes that we did receive. But we did allot $50,000 in our capital budget for that repair. So we are going to ask that this award be given to them in a not to exceed amount of $50,000, because we understand when you begin to do mechanical repairs, there's always something that comes up unexpected. And then we wouldn't have to come back to the council again to increase the not to exceed amount if it is within that $50,000 range. Resolution number 271 is a resolution awarding contracts for trash and debris removal services. This is a contract that we do on an annual basis, utilized primarily through our inspections department, who requires vendors to provide this service on vacant and occupied residential or commercial properties that have been cited for property maintenance violations. Normally, there are 5 vendors that they award $20,000 contracts to. We needed to add 3 additional vendors as 2 responses were only received. So they went out to bid again, and these were the 3 additional vendors that responded to the advertisement, the RFP. Resolution number 2023-272 is a resolution authorizing the township to establish a not to exceed contract for Main Access Systems Incorporated. They are contracted participant in the New Jersey State Cooperative Purchasing Agreements. With this contract, the funds are going to be utilized to upgrade the camera systems at the municipal complex and the Department of Public Works. Our cameras here in the building, as I understand, are very old and they don't really collect images very well. The way that it was described to me and witness is that the camera wouldn't pick up the license plate of a vehicle that's parked in the parking lot. So we're going to place cameras strategically or replace cameras strategically around the building and also in the DPW yard where there are no permanent cameras currently located. And we feel that there needs to be enhanced security in that location as well. So I do believe there is an attachment kind of outlining where those cameras would be and the types that would be placed in those particular locations. Resolution number 273, again, is a resolution awarding contracts for lawn and landscape maintenance services. Again, this is a contract that is utilized primarily by the Department of Inspections for properties that have been cited for maintenance violations pursuant to our municipal code. This again goes out to bid every couple of years, and we award 5 $20,000 contracts to each, or will award 5 $20,000 contracts to each of the 5 vendors listed in the resolution. Resolution number 275 is a resolution to establish a petty cash fund for the Township Manager's Office in the amount of $100. Resolution number 276 is a resolution authorizing an increase to the not to exceed amount for the New Jersey Animal Control LLC for the provision of animal control services for the Township of Willingboro. We do have a service contract with New Jersey Animal Control, but there are certain items or services that they provide kind of on an a la carte basis that are not actually written into the contract. And we just anticipate that we will need about another $3,000 to cover all of our expenses till the end of the year. So we're asking that you increase the not to exceed amount from $50,400 to $53,400. Resolution number 277 is a resolution to increase the not to exceed amount for Cooper Leverton, PA. They are the solicitors for the planning board. And again, they anticipate that they will need an additional $5,000 to complete all that they need to do with this this vendor through the remainder of 2023. Resolution number 278 is a resolution authorizing the Willingboro Township to place municipal charges on certain properties for failing to address property maintenance violations. Any property that we are required to go in and maintain or clean up or address because of property violations, the township will bear the cost and we will put a lien on that property to recoup those costs. And that's just authorizing us doing that as it is stipulated in our code. Resolution number 279 is a resolution to amend the adopted budget for additional items of revenue that were not anticipated at the time our budget was adopted. This is a miscellaneous item of revenue in the amount of $27,409. Willingboro, Pembroke, and the county participate in a joint program with, I think it's the U.S. Division of Local Government Services, wherein they provide a grant to purchase certain types of equipment within the departments. The grant is usually coordinated through Burlington County. Before the past 2 years, Burlington County has not participated in the program. Last year, Pembroke, is that right? Pembroke was the lead agency, and they paid all of our expenses or reimbursed Willingboro for all of the expenses related to the program. But this year, Willingboro is serving as the lead agency and will be responsible for reimbursing Pemberton, yes, for their grant expenses. Resolution number 280 is a resolution authorizing a grant application through the American Rescue Plan Firefighter Grant. This is a grant where firefighters can utilize to purchase personal protective gear. The amount of this grant is, I believe, up to $75,000. Is that correct, Chief? $75,000? And this resolution is just the authorization for us to, or requires an authorization or a resolution from the governing body to submit an application for this grant. So that's what we're asking for you for permission to apply for the grant. Resolution number 281 is a resolution authorizing the sale of auction items or equipment that is no longer operational or required by the Department of Public Works. Earlier in the year, we did enter into a fleet management program with Enterprise. Part of the components of the program were to bring in new vehicles and to sell vehicles that were of no great use or value to the township. These are the lists that we are choosing to sell this year. We opted not to sell through the Enterprise program because for each one of the items on the list, they charge a $400 processing fee. And although we do feel that we will recoup an adequate amount of revenue from the sale of these vehicles, we felt that we would do better going directly to sale with Municipid rather than doing it through Enterprise. So we're just asking for the authorization to sell those vehicles. Resolution number 282 is an establish a not to exceed amount for Sunnyside Farms for the provision of leaf disposal services for the Department of Public Works. The Department of Public Works has been, actively collecting leaves. And last year we did $43,000, or it cost us $43,000 to dispose of those leaves. And we are on track for the same volume as last year as we are for this year. I don't know if you recall, but last year we had to do an increase of the not to exceed from 35,000 to 43,000. So we're just asking that this contract be awarded in the not to exceed amount at 43,000 because we are consistent with the level of collection we were at this time last year. Resolution number 283 is a resolution for the budget transfer of the township to meet the continued operations for the affairs of the township for the end of the year. On the list are different budgetary lines who we feel additional revenues would be needed to take us to the end of the year. Those items were listed as the transfer in. The transfer out is where the monies would be coming from, and an explanation is attached to that. Our CFO is here this evening to answer any additional questions you may have regarding those particular transfers. Resolution number 284 is a resolution authorizing the township establish a not to exceed contract for CDWG or CDW government. We utilize CDWG to purchase software through a cooperative contract as software resellers. So we get our we're having a blip. Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat, we get through CDW. And Sean, what is the other service that we contract through CDW?
Yeah, it varies greatly. Acrobat is one of them. Ruckus for our cloud wireless infrastructure. And miscellaneous like cables, UPSs, stuff, things like that nature.
So we are asking that you just do a not to exceed for 26,000, so we can continue to do the work that we are doing here in the township. Resolution number 285 is a resolution authorizing a refund for overpayment of taxes. This is very standard and familiar with the governing body. Resolution number 286 is the authorizing the approval of vouchers for payment and ratification. Resolution number 287 is a resolution authorizing a contract with Omnia Partners, which were formerly U.S. Communities. They're a cooperative contract vendor as well. We wish to utilize Omnia Partners to purchase various goods and services in a not to exceed of 17,005. If I recall correctly, they were kind of like our third-party processor or purchaser for Amazon products. And we have gotten to the point where we needed to increase the not to exceed amount by $10,000 to continue the purchase of Amazon or products from through the Amazon marketplace due to the need of unanticipated items required for our operations through the continuation of the year. So we're asking for an increase of the not to exceed amount from 30,000 to 40,000. Our resolution number 288 was like the previous resolution, where we are looking to change the custodian on the Department of Public Works Petty Cash Fund from an employee that is no longer with the township, and naming Michelle Boynton the custodian for the Petty Cash Fund. There should have been one additional resolution establishing the Petty Cash Fund for the Township Council.
It is actually resolution 288.
Did I skip over it?
No, you didn't. It's at the end.
Okay. So then that is.
Which one was?
Yeah.
Did I miss that? Okay, so resolution 274 was also establishing a $250 petty cash fund for the clerk's office. I apologize.
No worries.
And then finally, resolution number 289, and this is a last minute addition that was not on your agenda. It was originally supposed to be presented back in December 5th. But it came in very late and it didn't make that agenda, and it just got passed over or missed because it was actually dated for December 5th. But this is a resolution authorizing the police department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 1033 program, which just enables the police department to request and acquire or purchase excess Department of Defense equipment. The Department of Defense will put things on sale, like tanks and all of those things. Not that we will ever need a tank in Willingboro, but there are items that could be utilized in our community. And for us to even request them, we have to be registered and on their list, and it requires a resolution of the governing body. So those are all of the items that are being presented to you for this evening for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. At this time, we're going to open up the floor for public comment for agenda items only. If anybody has any questions or concerns for agenda items only, please state your name and address for the record. You have 2 minutes. We have one online.
Yes, Mayor. Sharon Anderson.
Go ahead, Ms. Anderson.
Hello, this is Sharon Anderson from 7 Bellhurst Lane, and I want to speak wholeheartedly in support of this resolution regarding vendors and having a vendors list. It's been a big point of conversation on social medias, and it led me to look at other towns' ordinances, and I'm just so excited that we're going to have the same thing. I would encourage you to really promote the hearing, because I know, like I said, this is a very common, the matter of people coming to the door and not going away when you tell them to is a big issue in our area. And I know that there are going to be a lot of folks happy about this ordinance. Thank you so much for your time on this.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Anyone else for?
Yes, William Weston, 44 Bowers Lane. And it is a question about the ordinance. I see is punishable. Basically, what's the accountability to it? So it says Chapter 1, Article 2, and I just wanted to know what that general penalty was. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weston. Anyone else online?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public comment for agenda items is now closed. Mr. Harris, can you just offer further clarification for the accountability portion of the ordinance that was just introduced?
So the no-knock ordinance would be enforced through the police department by a ordinance violation, which would be returnable in court, which is punishable up to a $2,000 fine to be administered by the judge.
Or in prison.
I have a
Mr.
question.
Weston?
Mr. Harris, I'm sorry. I just pulled it up. Is it is it just the $2,000 fine, or is it to include the or imprisonment in the county jail for a period not exceeding 90 days or a period of community service not exceeding 90 days?
Yes, you're correct, Dr. Worthy, all of the above.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Worthy. Okay. Let's do the ordinance.
Certainly. On your call, Madam Mayor,
Yes,
move to the ordinance.
correct.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, for first reading, you have an ordinance 2023-23, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 257, peddling, soliciting, Articles 2 of the Township of Willingboro Municipal Code. And Madam, if you want to ask for a motion to approve. What would you-
You can ask for the motion.
I have a motion to approve this ordinance.
So moved.
Second, moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Certainly. Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Before we move on to the resolutions, are there any resolutions that council members would like to pull out and discuss further? No, no, okay. I make a motion for a consent agenda for resolutions 2023-270 through 2023-289.
So moved.
Second.
Just a second.
Sorry, that was moved by
Just need it's moved by me.
And a second
Second
from,
by Councilman Anderson.
noted,
Mine's go to 88. You said 89?
Yeah, that was the one.
that was the walk-on.
All right. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Certainly. It's been moved in second. I'll call the roll. Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield?
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. You can move on to treasurer and approval of minutes.
Madam Mayor, if you want to ask for a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
You can ask for the-
I'm sorry, thank you.
Yes,
No problem. I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report, please.
So moved?
Second.
moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Certainly. Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield?
Yes.
Mayor and Mayor McIntosh?
Yes.
Motion carried. And Mayor,
Do we have minutes? No.
we do not have minutes at this time.
Okay,
That moves us to the municipal clerk update.
okay.
And again, council, please do have mercy on me with my report. I've been for the short period that I've been here. What I've done for you is outlined a short organizational chart. Just to give a bit of my division of duties at this point in time. We have our keyboarding clerk 3, Latoya McBride, our clerk 1, Donald St. Hilaire, our part-time clerk, Ms. Cheryl Somerville. And we do have a vacant spot for a clerk 1, and of course, the deputy clerk is your appointment. And of course, myself, I'm secretary to the governing body. Statistics, we have 1,360 phone calls received, 1,249 calls made. There were 2 notaries taken care of, no mercantile licenses at this time. Oprah requests received. I will be giving you a figure on that as we move forward. So that is why there's a to be determined there. We will begin quantifying that and giving that to you in a monthly basis. Dog licenses at this time, of course, during the end of the year, so there are none. We will be looking towards an advertising renewals. Solicitors permits, 2 applications have been received by Trinity Solar. I will note, they did ask for a no knock list if available. Social affairs permits, we did receive one from Diamond Dogs. That has since been processed. Since it's in process. We did have a bingo also, I will note, that was previously approved by the council. The date was changed to March the 16th, and that is from Corpus Christi. Planning board applications, there were none. Mr. St. Hilaire did inform me, and I was at the meeting for Diamond Dogs, which did have an informal meeting. The memorialization of Resolution 23-11, which was PIMA. This is for a drive-through that was to be activated for their establishment. Memorialization of Willingboro Town Center. North Manager LLC, which, as I've been informed, is Starbucks, for approval of a C variance preliminary and final site plan approval. Zoning board applications, there was memorialization of a denial for United Hearts Islamic Academy. And this is for the denial of a use variance. This is for a 2-story school adjacent to an existing childcare center, along with a multi-purpose building, a wraparound parking lot, stormwater detention basin, and private schools are not permitted in the B1 district where this was located. Additional bulk variances were requested. For boards and commissions at this time, we're working on compiling citizen leadership forms for our boards and commissions. An advertisement has been sent to the newspaper, and we plan to collect those actively until a date determined by the council. As of today, have been 2 applications. I will update that. A 3rd one did come in today around 4:30, and they are here for your consideration. We've since advertised this through the township website, which will be done will be posted momentarily, and then also through social media if it's the council's wish. And we believe that we should spark some interest through those outlets. Through projects, we are currently relocating relocating and reconfiguring the clerk's office's files. They have been moved from across the hall to to their present location within the clerk's office. Now, the digitalization of records, as previously discussed, and record retention will be incorporated into that project. I was able to find an estimate that Ms. Brenda Blygen did get from Phobionics, company that I discussed with council prior. And I do have a little mark there for set it and forget it. That is because the program Phobionics is quite automatic. A lot of the document, basically what happens is they come in and they will basically take your documents and take your boxes, inventory them, and then eventually put them into a cloud-based directory. So that will be for the council to consider on it at a later date. And if you wish, I can set up meetings for that purpose with the vendor. Dog reports, we'll be updating, submitting dog reports and clerk reports from July 2023 to present. Ms. Cooper McBride will be assisting with that. And I'm currently working on getting registered for the township to update the roster for the financial disclosure statements. So we will update that to make sure that that doesn't become finding on your report from the auditor. Registration with the state of New Jersey for the financial disclosure statement roster. I will make sure I get that done. I will also get registered for NJ Posse through the ABC website so that I can handle any liquor license applications that come through, as well as social affairs permit applications. And of course, Granicus, I'm going to get a little bit better with Granicus. So I'm going to schedule an educational and instructional virtual tour with the company representatives so that I can not miss a beat with your agenda. And that's what I have so far, and I welcome your input.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Yes, sir.
You created and voted and approved a consent agenda. Did you vote on the consent agenda?
Yes. We voted to make it a consent agenda.
Did you vote on the event that created the agenda?
You did
Yeah, we
actually.
did
We did
too,
a subsequent motion after that.
to approve it.
So yes, we did do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Does anybody have any questions or concerns for Mr. Garcia? Dr. Worthy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Garcia, thank you for your report and also for sharing the delineation of duties in the office. And I was wondering if you would consider not for a response today, but to think about how the boards and commissions will be handled going forward, because we do collect them throughout the year. And if there's, a system, as you're looking at different systems, perhaps a system to be able to compile them so that they can stay in one place and be easy to update, to track the terms and the movement and things like that.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Garcia, I know we're a little behind in the minutes.
Mhm.
You know when we will get updates so that we can start? Those are up to date.
To be honest, what I'll do is I will go through your recordings, and I promise that I will get you minutes out for however far back you are backlogged.
Okay,
And once I've assessed and looked at that backlog, I will make sure that you get those minutes, and they'll probably be in
okay,
lump sums towards
okay.
your next meetings. We're fortunate enough to have individuals here to be able to vote on those.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Moving on to unfinished business. Does anyone have any items for unfinished business? That discussion that's written on there, we voted on today. Oh, there's nothing else. Okay.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, that was me.
Okay.
I have something, Madam Mayor. I wanted to get an update as to the health insurance. And the reason why this has come across is this past weekend, the township put on a Christmas party, and I was a little disappointed at the attendance. And then when I began to inquire, it's my understanding that there was an email generated from the union to boycott the Christmas party due to the health insurance. So that's what just leads me to see if we can get an update what's happening with health insurance.
Mr. Harris, you can answer that. if-
So when you say update, what specifically are you looking for?
Are there any concerns or any issues that caused the union to send out a message to boycott the Christmas party?
Well, I believe there was one union that sent out a message. I believe it was the ASME union.
Correct.
And the ASME union by statements made by them would be nothing, happier with nothing less than us reverting back to the state health benefits plan. Our health insurance is moving forward, and they are not happy with it because of some earlier hiccups, which have been resolved. But they are still adamant about reverting back to the state health plan. So that's really,
Do we have any concerns or issues with reimbursements
I do not have.
being done in a timely manner?
When the transition first started, there was about a 45 delay in reimbursements. Since then, reimbursements are up to par and on schedule, and I have that information if you would like me to share it with you. Up to date, the township has made over $500,000 in healthcare reimbursements, based on the instances that we have come across. There have been some problems with some persons following processes and procedures. We've had instances where employees have claimed that health reimbursements have not been made. When we reached out to the doctors had neglected to submit healthcare invoices. There are some employees who may have had to submit an out-of-pocket expense. And instead of filing a claim with the healthcare company, have taken the bills to their union president and filing a complaint instead of following the process. So those are the issues that we are kind of dealing with, but overall, healthcare is moving along efficiently.
All right, so with that being said, just me as an individual, when there's issues, because this was something I spoke out against earlier, I think the council should at least know, because when this comes across boycott because of health insurance, some of the other concerns may be if a employee has a child in college that's not in the state, and something happens, the insurance is questions if it's accepted. There's providers in those states that are saying, we're not familiar with this. So it's a number of things that I'm hearing. So I just wanted to ask you if you were aware what the status is, because I do see some union individuals here, which I'm pretty sure will speak up at public comment. But I just wanted to bring it to you to see, if it was reported to you, if you was even aware of it, because us as council was not. And for us, we sponsored that Christmas party just to find out that it was being boycotted with something due to health insurance. So that's why it became a concern for me.
Yes, but the Christmas party was the employees' Christmas party. So they are boycotting their own party in protest of a decision or activities that are moving forward with the administration. Why they chose to do that, I don't know, but that was their decision.
I understand, but when council picked up the tab and just, to learn about this, it just said, hey, what's going on with health insurance? So that's why I brought it up under old business. So I'm pretty, I appreciate your update based on your knowledge. There may be some things that you're unaware of, and maybe, those being represented by AFSCME maybe speak to it during public comments. But I just wanted to know, update from council, and moving forward, if there are situations or things aren't going right, at least let council know. I'm tired of getting caught like a deer in headlights.
But that's subjective. Things are going well.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure we'll hear from
Yes,
people in the
okay.
audience during public
you.
comment.
Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Perone?
Thank you. To the same topic, I also have received calls from several different departments, different people from different with regards to the health plan that was selected. And it was basically explained to me that this company does not have affiliations. So basically they are stuck with, if the health insurance company, the current doctor that they currently have and have been using does not affiliate with this new company, then basically it's on that employee to do whatever to now find new healthcare. Another issue has to do with prescription. It seems that there is a huge issue, and I know you keep saying that there's nothing wrong, but there is an issue. And I just want to again bring that to your attention, and also to recall that when you had proposed it to us, it was stated in a conversation with the council and I and yourself that if
they were not happy with this insurance, that we could go back, because that was a question that I've asked. Now, for me and the rest of council, we were not privileged to sit in the meetings when you invited this particular company to meet with the employees and discuss different plans in more depth detail. However, you said it took place, you did surveys, and everybody's thrilled about it. I said, but if we wanted to go back, if they wanted to revert back, what are their options to doing so? And you said they could. And you also said that they could file something and that the courts could return it back. So my question with all of that said in summary, can they go back to the insurance plan that we had before? And because you said that we could possibly look into that, going back to what we had before, what they had before, since it was working. If there was nothing wrong with it, then why do the change? And obviously that the employees are upset about it, whereby they are protesting. So maybe it's working for you, but not for the majority of your employees. So just looking into going back to the plan that we had initially before, that a possibility for you.
So if the governing body decides that they want to rejoin the state health benefits, it takes a resolution by the governing body, we will go back and join the state health benefits. The reason that we left the state health benefits was because they came up with or implemented, I believe it was a 27% increase in their premiums. It was the unions that approached me and wanted some type of relief for the health benefits. They requested that the council assume the additional cost, or the township assume the additional cost, or some type of rebate. So we proceeded to find alternative solutions. We had conversations with the USI, which is our healthcare broker, and they made presentations to the union leaders who were present at the meeting. And I do believe they were also here and made a presentation to the governing body. At which time you were able to ask any questions and all of those things. What we promised the unions was a health plan that was equal or substantially equal or better to the state health benefits plan. Performance Health is a third-party processor. We are self-insured. We pay our own health expenses. So we get the bills from, the doctor sends the bills to Performance Health. Performance Health tells us we owe them a certain amount of money. They take that money and then distribute it to the physicians. Our contract that we have in Willingboro is an exact replica of the state health benefit plan. Everything that they got through the state, they get through here in Willingboro. Now, a lot of the employees are going to their physicians and saying, my insurance is Performance Health. Well, Performance Health is the processor, but that's neither a here nor there. But the process that was laid out to them, and we asked them that prior to them going out to their physicians, that they would contact Performance Health, so Performance Health could create a contract between us and them. We are not healthcare providers. We do not have a network. So therefore, we are required to establish contractual relationships. If those doctors do not choose to enter into those contractual relationships, we cannot compel them to.
Right.
Some have not. Some we have worked with who have subsequently, we have entered into contracts. There are some medical facilities, Virtua, Cooper, Penn Medicine, who we do not have a universal contract with for the facility, but doctors in their networks can enter into a contract if they choose to. So, we are continually to work through the process and bringing persons on board that are presented to the municipality. But, even in that process, they want to go to the doctor and just walk into the doctor's office and say, here's my card. And they don't take that card because we haven't established a contractual agreement with that. We understand this has been very problematic, and we are working on that. One of the things that we have recently spoken about is connecting with PHCS Multiplan, which is a broader universally accepted doctors-only network. So they can go onto the PHCS network, see if there's doctors in there. We will reissue new cards, and then they will go to their doctor, and whatever the network is requiring payment from us, that's what we will pay. It will be more than what we were being paid or pay. It may be more than what we were paying through Performance Health, those contractual agreements. But if that network is something that they make them feel absolutely much better about, we're willing to go ahead and do that. So I don't deny that we had implementation hiccups and there was a delay initially in the payments, but those issues have been resolved, the ones that I am aware of anyway. There may be some that I am not aware of. For example, we had a meeting with the police union and the firefighters union. They came and presented to me. Finally, they told me how many complaints out of the police and firemen, how many complaints. They had 6 complaints with delayed payments and 2 complaints where the doctors would not accept the insurance. Since we met with them on Friday, I went back to Performance Health and checked into them. Every single one of those claims have been paid. One of the physicians that they were not in contract has subsequently joined the plan. So the other one, I don't know. When you say that it's working for me and it's not working for them, that's not a really good statement, because when I went to my doctor wouldn't accept the plan either. But that was because he was retiring and he wasn't connecting with any new insurance premiums. But I picked up the phone and I called them. And when I found my new doctor, they established the contractual agreement 6 weeks before I even went. I went to my appointment. They didn't ask me for my card. They asked me for my copay. They sent my prescription to the pharmacy. The pharmacy was paid. As a matter of fact, a lot of employees are reporting that they're getting prescriptions for free. So we are diligently working to deal with these issues, but there are certain unions who are just bent on the fact that they want to go back to the state health benefits, who had another 9% increase this year. So, but again, if the governing body decides that you want to return back to the state, we can pass a resolution and we can go back to the state at any time.
What about conducting, my last question, sorry. What about conducting an employee survey? Even if it's anonymous, I know we're talking about healthcare, but because honestly, I don't have the health plan, right? So I can only speak to what I'm hearing, what you're saying, and so as far as us just voting, the 5 of us, let's go back, or let's say, just some criteria of the people that work here, the employees, like doing a survey, even if they don't want to identify themselves individually, but what are your issues? Should we stay or should we go? And then that's something that I would, and that's just me, but me more comfortable with voting on, okay, 90% of the employees or 50% say stay, 50%, you know what I mean? Like, can you do something like that? With the employees?
Conduct a survey if the employees want to go back to the state health benefits plan?
Or
I don't need to conduct a survey for that. I could tell you the majority of them would probably vote to go back without a doubt.
why do you think that is?
Because it's changed. It's different. It's not used to, it is not what they have been used to. And there are some certain expectations that they just expect, and it's change.
Well, okay, I know it's about, just last part is, I would suggest doing the survey, but not just so simple as, do you want to go back? Do you want to stay? Identify why do you want to go back? Because maybe you'll find out that it's because my child has this illness or whatever, and I can't find them, maybe you get some more meat of why, because even to go back, maybe we could look to see how we can make it better and not just go back to, whatever the issues are, just kind of like getting more substance of why we want to go back, not just because it's changed.
So we are working to resolve those personal issues. For example, there is, and I don't want to give out too much information, but there is a one particular gentleman who has very serious healthcare needs for his child. And we were on the phone with him today, outlining all of the contractual arrangements that have been made to make sure he has the durable metal equipment that he needs and gets the services that he needs, everything that he needs. We were working and outlining all of these equipments. And his parting words were, he is an advocate for every employee in Willingboro, and he will not stop until we go back. So it doesn't matter if his needs are met, if the services are being provided. There's just a faction that just want to go back because that's what they know, that's what they're comfortable with. And if the governing body, is going to acquiesce, then that's a decision you're going to have to make. But, sometimes change is tough. But I don't think what is happening is, and I don't want to use the wrong word, okay, then I would just leave it at that. So for an example, just one last example. Back in June or earlier in the year, we received notification from Aetna that Aetna was out of contract with the state of New Jersey Health Benefit Plan. So that means anybody that used an Aetna physician as part of that network could no longer go to that physician because they were not contracted with the state health benefit plan. Had nothing to do with the state, or the doctors, it was just that they could not reach contractual agreement. We in Willingboro are self-insured. We don't have a medical network, so we need to establish individual contractual agreements between us and the physicians. And our reports, and I'll share them to you, I have them, because I kind of was aware that this conversation, although at the very last minute, was going to come up. Why is it when you need stuff, it's just never at... I feel your pain.
Yes, I just have one thing. So Mr. Harris, you had stated you think that there's a faction that wants to go back to the state plan no matter what.
Print me up another copy of the report that you gave me, because I can't find it. I'm sorry, Council.
No problem. That they want to go back to the state plan no matter what. And do you think that they would still desire that even with the 27% increase from last year and the 9% increase on this year? Do you think their feelings or sentiments would remain the same?
I can't answer that question.
Okay.
I can't answer that question. No, but again, I can't compel anybody to speak up that may want to share the positive experiences that they've had with the healthcare. And and a lot of this is really HIPAA related, so I can't really discuss anyone's personal. But you know what? There are persons that are quite happy and feel that the plan really works well and is very cost effective and efficient for the community.
Madam Mayor, from the beginning, my stance was this. It was presented to council on a Tuesday that you had spoken with the unions, there was no issues and everything was okay. That document was then put before council to vote on. All right. Then we found out later that you spoke with the union reps. They did not have an opportunity to take it back to the body to get feedback before it was put in front of us. To Councilwoman Perrone's point, we want to know what the employees felt about it, but the reps who sat in your meeting who didn't oppose anything because they were just gathering information to take back. So before they had an opportunity to take it back, this was put before council. So when you said to council, I spoke with the reps, there was no concerns. Just let me finish, sir. You said there were no concerns. So the understanding that we had was that it went through its full cycle when it didn't. They didn't have a chance to take it back, which you confirmed when I brought it back to the table. That's one. To your point is, yes, there are going to be some people happy. There's going to be some people that's not happy. But what this reminds me of is the trash contract. We did it because of cost. We did it because of savings. And it ended up being a fiasco until we're trying to work through it. So this is what it reminds me of. But when we deal with our most valuable resource, I don't want to jeopardize, their health when it comes to anything, because it may not be important to us because we don't have the same issues. And I understand what you're saying. If you was to put a poll out there, most of them will want to go back because they're comfortable. Based off what you're telling me, if I'm able to walk into a doctor's office as if I was on the state plan and give them my card and it's universal accepted, I would love that. So when I hear that it's equal to or greater than, just that aspect of it doesn't shout out equal to me. And that's just my opinion and listening to this. But it reminds me of the trash contract where we were looking at saving $1. This is our most valuable resource, and I disagree. I think, to Councilwoman Perón's point, maybe we do a survey, because we're going to have that. But this is what it reminds me of, and it's not always about $1. And I understand the township is saving, but at what cost is the township saving? And that's what I don't want to jeopardize.
I do, but I don't want to get into a debate about what was said and what wasn't said and things that were presented. Yes, we did have a meeting with the unions. Yes, we did present it, lay it out to the unions. It was the union leaders' responsibility to connect with their members, and in certain circumstances, that wasn't done, not by my choice, but because by their deficiencies. Some of the unions didn't even show up to the meeting. And we had several meetings. I don't recall ever presenting to the council that it was fine, they were on board. I do recall presenting to the council that we were in a kind of a time-pressed situation because we received our claims history from the state of New Jersey. And if we did not move forward with the process, we had until August 1st, then we would be required to submit another claims history from the state of New Jersey. I thought I explained that the state only provides those claims histories a couple of years, and then we would have to go back and get another claims history. It would have cost us some money, but that's not even the main factor. But after August the 1st, or it was actually July the 1st, then all of that would have to go back out and be was it when you go out to a claims examiner or whatever, an adjuster, whatever the process is, the underwriter, I'm sorry, it would have to go through the underwriting process. Even in that, Performance Health reached out to the provider and gave us an extension from July 1st to August 1st. So they gave us an additional 30 days to do what we needed to do. Otherwise, we would have had to go back out to underwriting. That's why the transition happened in July instead of August. I believe me, Councilman, please don't ever presume that I do not care about the well-being of the employees, and it's not about saving a buck. They were the ones that came and said, what can you do? And this is the solution that we found. And now the solution is in place, and we're doing the best that we can to bring this product to them. Well, there are some who have had problems or hiccups, and now it's no good, and let's go back. Well, like I said, we can go back. If you want to go back, we can do a resolution and go back. It would take another signing up with the state, and that would be it. It's not, it is what it is, but
One thing I will say is that if you try to go back to the state health benefits plan, they have certain enrollment periods. It's not something that can happen immediately, like tomorrow, or even probably 6 months from now. It might take a while to get it all in place, but.
Can we please find out when the enrollment is so that it will help us with a decision to see how much time we have to do a survey, whatever else we're going to do within that time frame, if that's the will of council?
I'll work with Lester to get that information together.
absolutely.
We will hear from, like I said, people, representatives. So anything else for unfinished business? Dr. Worthy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Harris, I was wondering if there had been any further consideration for the status of the OEM coordinator. I know when we voted, it was no from council, but I haven't seen another resolution come forward. So I was curious where we were with that.
So we have not considered another OEM coordinator. We're kind of feeling around for them for one. I do know that Mr. Carroll has had the requested conversations with the school and will be submitting some type of report to I believe by the end of the month, but there has been no identification of another OEM coordinator as of yet.
Thank you. Also, I wanted to request that we get pricing for the track component of that turf field. The presenter, I saw his email where he said he miscommunicated the price. And so I would like to know what the total cost, the council had asked that question, what the total cost of the turf field with the track. And he said that that 1.4 million does not include the track, is what he said in the email. So if you could find out what would the cost, what's the total cost of the project? They anticipated, maybe he can give us some options based on what different turf field, you know, if we go high, medium, or not gonna go low, but high quality, a mid-grade, and then a track that's built out to the specifications for AAU or the Track and Field Association, so we can actually hold bona fide track meets.
Yes, and I believe in the email that I recently sent you, those were listed, the options, different
Right.
options on the A, B, C, and.
But not
D.
pricing.
There was pricing.
It was, I'll go back and look at that. Okay.
And if it's not satisfactory what you're looking for, let me know and I'll get more, but there was additional subsequent pricing based on, as you say, what level of track surface that we want.
Okay, I'll look at that again. Thank you. The leases for JFK tenants, I was curious if that had gone out yet. We had discussed what the language may need to be for 2024.
That is correct. And we did submit that to Mr. Crook, who was looking at the contracts, and we will have the modified language, and those leases will be prepared to go out next week.
Thank you. We started a conversation several months ago about the Rent Stabilization Board and was curious what's needed from council for us to make some progress in that space. I haven't heard it in a while, so just curious how we wrap that up.
So again, that
Mr.
was,
Crook.
Well, we did take a look at several different types of ordinances. We looked at anything from a range of a full-blown rent control type of ordinance with a hearing board, et cetera, which I believe at that point in time, council's direction was they didn't want to get that deep into the process. That would be too overwhelming to actually set up. What you really set up is almost like a separate court, which you'd have to fund, the attorneys for it. You have to have an attorney to prosecute the cases. You have to have an attorney to represent the individuals if they need representation, like a public defender type of thing. So that's one model that at the time I thought with the decision was that was going to be something that council was not interested in pursuing. You can just do kind of a lesser rent stabilization without having as much, how should I put it, bureaucracy associated with that. And again, if you want me to come back and like give the presentation and update the models, I'd be glad to do that.
If it be the will of council, I'm just was
Yeah.
going through some things as we were rounding out the year.
Revisit.
Do you want to revisit the rent stabilization?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Do we need to, do I need a motion?
No,
Oh.
I'm just taking that as
Okay.
direction to me. I'll prepare something in the next week or so and get you kind of an update with the different scenarios of things that we can pursue.
Okay, thank you. And last one, Madam Mayor, is
Okay.
old business. We talked about a parking lot expansion at JFK, given the new amenities coming with the Performing Arts Theater and Senior Center and the turf field and all that stuff. And just wanted to know what we would need, what you need from council for us to have the engineers consider the location, the design, the pricing as we move forward. So, so that we can have all that information.
So is that something that the body would like the engineer to look into?
Sure, yes.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
what they, yes.
So a parking lot extension / redesign for the JFK Center.
Parking lot expansion, I don't know, yes.
Really to accommodate, the theater
new-
that's coming, any, renovations that we're doing, we said to accommodate more,
Right,
people.
I understand, okay.
Thank you. That's all, Madam Mayor.
Did you have anything for Deputy Mayor? Okay. Councilwoman Pearl?
No.
Okay. Moving on to new business. Does anyone have any items for new business?
Yes,
Councilman Anderson?
Yes, I do, Madam Mayor. As I just, indicated, about our employees being the heartbeat of what makes us look good, what makes the municipality go round, along with the administration. Year in and year out, we always get asked Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve if we can get off early. And as managers come in and they go, it changes. So what I'm asking the support of council is for those 2 days, if we could do a resolution to state that we will close the building at 2:00 on those 2 days, Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve, provided the community gets enough notice. So if this is something that we vote on tonight, we need the community to be aware of it and more than enough time so that we don't, we don't get the complaints that they didn't know. But this is something, it's another give back because of the hard work, that our employees go through. And for every year, different managers, it always changes. So we just want something where it's consistent, no matter who's here. And this way we don't keep getting the calls. Can we get off early? Can we get off early? So once again, I would like to make a motion that Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve, the building shuts down at 2:00.
I second the motion.
Discussion, yeah. Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion, please.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Dr.
Thank
Worthy.
you. I agree with Councilman Anderson. I would like the language to be clear, though, more clear. Because, for instance, Christmas Eve this year is on a Sunday, right? So I'm wondering if the language needs to be more clear, the last, full working day prior to the holiday, just to be
Correct.
clear. Otherwise, they'll be here all day Friday because Christmas Eve is on Sunday.
But if not, they got all the Sunday off.
You get Sunday off. So I would want to clarify the language for that. Thanksgiving Eve is always a Wednesday. So.
Yes, I would like to amend my motion to state just that.
So then what would be, if I may ask, what would be adequate notice? Because tomorrow is Wednesday. The building would close early on Friday, so is that
Get it out
adequate
tomorrow.
notice?
For this year it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a day before?
Well, it's tomorrow. Get it-
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
What is it saying for,
So if we
for
can get-
this year, currently today, beyond this moment right now, posted tomorrow, but going forward, you would advertise it on our Facebook like the week before, letting everybody know, reminder, building's closing. But
Okay.
for today, just post it tomorrow.
That's fine.
All right. Anybody else?
We gotta take a vote?
What was the
Second.
discussion? Any
Where's
other
discussion?
discussion?
Oh, finished. Yeah, I'm finished with discussion.
And does this accommodate, does this accommodate for people that come in at 6? There's people that come in at 6, 7, 8, 9.
Swing shift, third shift.
Well, when you close
You close the building.
Right.
the
right, okay.
township, then there are persons that are working that will kick into overtime. You have the consideration of DPW, who their workday starts from 7 to 3, so are they leaving at 12?
It would be 2:00. We used to do it in the past where we would shut down at 2:00.
Right.
Okay.
So
I
unfortunately,
think
for those
that's
who come
something
in
to
early,
Consider though, that, if at 2:00, after 2:00, we have to pay overtime. I mean, it's just something to consider. I'm okay. I
How
support
did-
it, but
yeah, I just want, in the past, this is what was done. And there was no other concerns, issues regarding overtime. So I'm not sure, but I know we used to shut down where we would allow the employees to leave at 2.
So would that be, so if the regular workday is 5, and they're leaving at 2, then they would leave 3 hours prior. So does DPW have the authority to leave then at 12 instead of 3?
I think we should just keep it real simple. It's
At
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
The business hours will be ending at 2 p.m. And I think we're getting really busy with the,
I understand, Councilwoman, but these are the issues that we deal with. So one union now gets an hour and another union that gets 3 hours. And then if we have programs that are going on at the JFK Center who can't leave at all, they get nothing. So I understand
like,
that,
the
but
firemen are not gonna all go home, neither are the police department. They're gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna still function. It's not like everybody goes home. We're gonna still have business. Things are gonna still move forward. And those that are, I'll tell you what the companies that I work for, if you need to stay, handle your business at the end of the day. We are responsible adult men and women. If you're doing something, do it, make sure it's done. 2 o'clock business hours is, that's,
I
that's
get
where-
that. Believe me, I get that. But just like I'm saying, if the person's here get 3 hours on Christmas Eve, then the DPW union guys should get the same 3 hours on Christmas Eve. That's all I'm saying.
Do we
So-
have a list of essential personnel where the essential personnel may be the people who could have the opportunity to swap their time on a different day? If you use a list of essential personnel,
Let's just go back to 2008 and see what we did then. See how they paid the employees. Because, I mean, we've done this before. We voted, they leave early, everybody was paid. I mean, it's getting really busy. I don't know how they did it, but people were paid, everybody did their jobs. The building didn't fall down to pieces. We got back to work after the holiday. It's okay. It's good. It's just, you leave it too. I think we're getting too busy.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Decisions were made. We let the employees go early on Thanksgiving, but I adjusted the time for DPW and all that. But if you're gonna make it formal, then I just think it needs to be consistently formal for all of the unions and employees. That's all that I'm saying. But it will be whatever you want it to be. It's
I mean,
2
I agree
o'clock,
with
the
Dr.
building's
Worthy,
closed.
what she
Two
said when she spoke about as far as notifying the community, the employees. And she said something else that was essential personnel. Those are key things to put in there so that, you know, people just, it's in writing, because we're voting for it. It's so we don't have to keep voting for it or getting a phone call the day before,
Mhm.
just to kind of put it there. But how about just put something together? We'll read it, we'll have an attorney look at it, right? We vote on it now and you put something together and write this, everybody okay with that? You're gonna just write something up what the verbiage, the language is gonna sound like, what we agree on, but we're voting on it now.
Well, I think what Mr. Harris is referring to are the potential issues, which is because you have different classes of employees with different schedules. There are people that come in at, that come in early and don't get the time off. If they already leave at 2, they're gonna say it's not fair to them, and it's very possible the union that represents them might step up. So I think you do have to take those type of considerations into account. I mean, the simplest way, I guess, would be to, as Mr. Harris has suggested, is, prorate the time for the earlier schedules. Instead of leaving at 2, they could leave at 11 or something like that, or whatever the arrangement would be. I do think if you made it that way, you would probably avoid some of the issues with the unions in terms of fairness and equity.
All right, I mean, if
That
that's,
is-
yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
This way Kevin comes in at 7.
Correct.
Kev, you can get off early, okay?
So can we agree on leaving 3 hours earlier on the day than a
That's fine.
specific time?
That's fine. That's
That
fine.
3 hours earlier before the normal scheduled end of the workday.
Yes.
I'm about to sweat my curls out trying to get this done.
but for the residents, I think for the simplicity of an announcement that goes out to residents, you'd have to say, I believe the language would need to be clear. The building closes at 2 or something, or figure out whatever that noon, whatever number.
Right.
Okay.
I got you.
With that being said, Mayor, roll call? Certainly. Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have one more piece of new business.
You're on a roll, Mr. Anderson. Let's go.
As it relates to the registrar's office, based on our ordinance, it's currently under the manager at this point in time. I would like to make a motion that we bring registrar up under council, that we amend the current ordinance to bring registrar up under council. The office has always functioned that way, but based on ordinance, it was actually allocated to the manager's office. But the office is always run under council's guide, or the clerk's office,
Clerk,
rather.
Council? Okay.
Clerk, the clerk's office. Okay, but based on the ordinance, when we took a deeper look, we were operating against the policy. So what I would like to do is amend the ordinance so that it can continue to operate in the manner that it was.
And procedurally, if you're gonna do that, you'd have to introduce the ordinance on
Correct.
first reading and
Mhm.
have a second reading, so.
Correct. I'm just.
So is your
looking for-
motion to look forward or create an ordinance?
Create the ordinance, correct.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by, I'm sorry, Dr. Worthy. Any further discussion? Dr. Worthy.
I just wanted to make sure that we were in the clear with legal and have legal as part of the process, for the ordinance review. Just to make sure that we're, that we are able to do this, but I support it. I just want to make sure that we go through the proper legal channels.
Agreed.
As part of my review, I'll check the statutes and everything to confirm that we have the authority, the council has the authority to do this, and I'll work with Labor Council to confirm that also.
Okay, any further discussion?
And if I may ask, are you going to require your clerk to have a registrar certification since they are the overseer of the registrar's office?
That's something to consider.
We'll consider it.
Yeah, I think it's a weak insert. It's just a matter of when the testing is allowed. But at this point in time, I believe we have somebody per diem who is operating out of the office. We have another individual who is provisionally doing the job. So I believe, and that individual does have the cert, who's sitting there provisionally doing it. So at this point, I believe Mr. Garcia is taking the steps to acquire that CMR.
Okay, yes, so we'll get the details and particulars.
Yep.
Updated in a potential ordinance. Any further discussion?
I have a question about that, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
So, if we're in the process of working through the ordinance in the interim, how do we proceed with that? If there are changes or, just for, just to make sure that we're in alignment. I guess we're kind of like in an interim.
You'll forward it to all council members.
I'll prepare a draft. I'll send it to everybody with a memo describing what I find out about the legal implications, about the certification, about the authority of council to a point which I'm pretty sure exists. But I'll put that together and get it to council.
Okay.
And then for our next meeting,
Mhm.
can we just put that on for unfinished business?
This will be for unfinished business.
And we might, or whoever, we might push it back to the next meeting, but just put it on our agenda.
So it doesn't get lost.
So it doesn't get
This
lost.
topic to put
Yeah.
on the unfinished business.
So Mayor, if I may,
This is to go to the reorg or to the following meeting?
We'll put it on reorg for now, so
Okay.
it doesn't get lost.
Gotcha.
so if I may just ask the solicitor while he is doing his research, if he will make sure that he researches the implications that the registrar is actually a civil service title.
Mhm.
So are they going to remove it from under civil service? And it is also a title in the ASME union contract? If they're going to, is ASME going to give up that title underneath their contract? So these are other things that, Mr. Cook needs to consider as well. And also understanding that if it remains under civil service, the township manager is still the appointing authority for civil service employees. And whoever moves in and out of that position would still be an appointment of the township manager. So I don't know what the motivation is, but these are just all the rules of civil service.
Understood, just as if it's posted and you have a vet that applies for it, they go to the top of the list, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Checkmate.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilman Anderson. Excuse me.
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Abstain.
Noted. Motion carried.
Thank you. Anything else for new business?
Don't forget the holiday card.
If there's nothing else for new business, I don't know if everyone has driven or walked or traveled around Willingboro, but the streets of Willingboro, but I noticed this year that the houses are decorated splendidly. And I don't know if it's due to the promotion of our communications department for this contest that I think was well overdue, and the community's been asking for it, and I think they did a great job executing it. I'm not sure, how many participants did we have? 40. Okay, that's good. But even if you, outside of those 40, if you've gone around Willingboro, and I suggest people take a nice ride, because people have outdone themselves this year. So we do have prizes for the contest that we just had for the house decorating, project, or not project, I'm sorry, contest. And we'll start with the third place winner. There we go. Rakia Carter on 51 Fairmount Drive. I don't know if she's here. Oh, nice. Nice. That's in Fairmount Park. Okay. Very nice. Miss Carter, that's awesome. For our second place winner, we have Miss Cynthia Santana from 3 Twin Hills Drive.
Wow.
Nice. Right. And then for our first place, I need a bigger drum than that. I need more than Dr. Worthy drum. All right. We have Miss Victoria Ortiz on 14 Bosworth Lane. Let's see this, Buckingham.
Wow.
Nice. Nice. So again, congratulations to the winner. Huh? Oh.
Are any of
No.
these people here?
I think somebody's on the Ortiz family.
Is Ortiz or Santana or Carter online?
You can raise their hand.
Okay. And they can pick these are getting mailed to them.
Are
they
we
picking
gonna mail them? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, well, I want to say congratulations to the winners. Your prizes will be delivered. Prizes will be delivered to your home. Again, thank you for everyone who participated. I think Willingboro looks great during the season, and I appreciate our team, our recreation and communications team, for executing something that the residents have been wanting for a while. So thank you, appreciate it. Nothing else for new business.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to public comment. Public comment is now open. You have 4 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 4 minutes. Public comment is now open.
Please state your name and address for the record.
George Brown, 103 Evergreen Drive. Good evening, everyone. My name is George Brown, AFSCME Local 327 President, speaking on behalf of the membership. I'm here with my Vice President, Amanda Exum, and also fellow members. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, Township Manager, and Township Clerk, and Willingboro residents. This is a matter that Councilman Anderson spoke on some months back, very spiritedly, but I am here to make a statement in response to the inquiry that was made regarding the healthcare plan. AFSCME and the Township of Willingboro are parties to a collective negotiations agreement covering January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2023. Pursuant to Article 27.3 of the CNA, the township reserved the right to change insurance plans or carriers, or to self-insure directly through a joint insurance fund, so long as equal or better benefits were provided. However, prior to any change in plans or carriers, the township was required to notify AFSCME Local 327 President and AFSCME New Jersey Council 63 to review and discuss any proposed changes with the union. If the union determined to grieve the matter, the grievance was to be filed directly with the township manager within 15 calendar days of notification, and the matter would proceed directly to expedited arbitration. Pending conclusion of the arbitration, no change of plans or carriers was to be made. Upon notification from the township that its intention to leave the then current insurance carrier to self-insure, the union timely filed a grievance with the township manager on June 7th, 2023. The township then left the then current insurance carrier and commenced providing benefits through the new insurance plan in violation of Article 27.3 and all other applicable provisions of the CNA and applicable law. There has been a myriad of issues for numerous unit members confirming that the level of coverage since the insurance plan has changed, has not been equal to or better than the previous coverage. In further violation of Article 27.3 and all other applicable provisions of the CNA applicable law. The change in insurance coverage has, among other deficiencies, exposed union members to unpredictable and potentially costly balance bills or uncovered provider charges. Provided no insurance coverage at all for providers that were previously in network and were utilized by unit members. Provided different and lesser prescription drug coverage for prescriptions utilized by unit members, and newly recommends that union members should take time-consuming administrative steps in advance of seeking medical care, with uncertain timelines to learn if the care will be covered and for how much. The township has failed to address and or remedy these issues brought to the township attention by employees directly and or by the union. It is very important to note that deductions are being taken from people's paychecks every 2 weeks without access to quality insurance plans that members can count on day in and day out. A return to the state health benefit plan is the remedy currently being sought by the membership, as reliable, accessible, and worry-free healthcare is a necessity, and that is what the hardworking, dedicated members of AFSCME Local 3827 membership deserve, as well as the workforce of the Township of Willingboro. We stand with our FOP and fire unions as they have extended strong support to our efforts as well. Thank you very much for your time and have a great evening.
So I have experience. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm not a public
And please state
speaker.
your name and address for the record.
My name is Gwen Calderlane, 57 Tyler Drive, Willingboro, New Jersey. I've experienced negative issues with this, not negative issues. I've been embarrassed. I've been told I'm only seeing you because of continuity of care. I self-pay when I go to the registration desk. We don't know this insurance. We do not take open access insurance. Our doctors don't take it. I now have to wait, go to the end of the line, get my credit card. They call the billing office. We work the bills out. Then I get the appointment to see the doctor. I've been seeing doctors at Penn Medicine for over 20 years. I'm afraid to go to the doctors now because they're not accepting the insurance. This is not individual doctors. This is a trauma teaching regional hospital. They have surgical care that I've been going to. I am not getting the service I need. From the family medicine doctor, to the orthopedic surgeon, to the neurosurgeon, to the retina specialist, to the OB, to the GYN person, none of them are taking my stuff. So I limit what I'm doing. If something happens, that I have a pain or something that is chronic, then I call up. Then I have to wait because of this insurance. I'm afraid. I'm afraid all the time to go. Some medications that I've been using were denied. These were medications approved by Medicare. the issue is, I've been without a couple of months without that. That shouldn't be. If you're accepting, if the providers are going to accept this insurance, I shouldn't be denied. All I want is medical care. I'm not going waving a card saying, here's the card. They ask for the insurance card. And when you give the card, what is this? We do not take that. 15, 20 minutes, they're still calling up. I have to call before I go. Same issue. The only option I have is to take the credit card and pay. Then when the money doesn't come back in time, and I can't meet my obligations with a credit card, I'm stuck. I don't have discretionary fund, but I need healthcare, and I need proper healthcare to prolong my health. That's all. It's a small thing. It's a right. That's all I have to say. I'm a bit confused right now because there's so much more going on. I'm anxious and I'm stressed out about it because I'm afraid. Healthcare, I'm afraid of not having proper healthcare.
Thank you, Ms. Lane.
Thank you.
Are there any, excuse me, are there any other, apparently there are.
Tim Brantley, 44 Woodhaven Lane. Good evening, council, and everybody in the audience. I heard a lot of good stuff this evening, getting things done. Keep the members with their health care, keep that in prayer, because that's a scary thing. But I heard someone speak about advocating, and I think we all know that know me know that I advocate for our veterans. I've called Mr. Harris' office several times. We had one conversation in reference to the Willingboro Department of Veterans Affairs. I bring this up because after the AMVET building on Beverly Rancocas Road, I don't believe, and I stand to be corrected, that we had anything in place to replace this veteran community with a service officer who can handle what our website says we do, which is file initial claims, transport veterans to and from appointments. And I don't see that. I am a certified service officer. I continue to process claims from my home for our veterans. They are getting their just due benefits. I asked Mr. Harris if that was going to be a budgeted item when we were having budget meetings, because we need that, you know, because right now, I'm processing these claims from my home. I don't have a problem with that because I love my veterans. Me and all my brothers are veterans, my wife's a veteran. And I'm only saying that to say that when you call the Department of Veterans Affairs in Newark, which there's a number forwarded from our township, I get called because in the system, I'm a service officer. They give you a location of where you're calling from. So I asked the person, how'd you get my number? From the Department of Veterans Affairs. I think this is very important, that this should be a budgeted position for this township of many, many veterans. Our fathers, daughters, sons, grandfathers. I mean, I spoke before, weeks ago. I missed the last couple of meetings because I was a little under the weather. But, you know, but for veterans filing lawsuits for particularly minorities that live here, none of y'all be sitting there except one gentleman. I don't say that to be any way rude, but it's the truth. And we need to do more. So I do like to thank the South Jersey National Association of Realtors and Brokers, who did on Veterans Day, well, the 9th of November, that Friday, they did have a beautiful veterans luncheon over at Foster Military Lodge. And I know we didn't do anything because of scheduling issues or whatever. Ms. Foster did stand up and say that we're going to have something for the veterans at a later time in November. Of course, now it's December. And I just want to keep in mind to everybody that let's not wait until Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July to come around and thank us for our service. When these things were overlooked, I woke up Veterans Day And I went up to the memorial because we did talk about at the one meeting I spoke that we were gonna have wreath laying ceremonies. I didn't see anybody out there, so I went to Philadelphia to the Vietnam Memorial. My neighbor just had to leave her home, 100% disabled veteran. A friend of mine who lived in the apartments next to Avery, they became homeless. They're down in Mount Laurel now, an extended stay infested building because they couldn't afford to stay here in Willingboro no more. What are we gonna do further, if anything, for our veterans in this community? Last thing, I think, and I did mention it to the solicitor, I think it's time to go back and look at having a ethics committee for our township, because everybody needs to be accountable for their actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brantley.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak?
Hi, I'm Helen Lavanya. I live at 14 Henry Street in Riverside. I'm an employee here. And as far as health insurance goes, I don't know if you're aware that there's age discrimination with it. I'm paying the same amount as all the other employees, yet because I'm 65, I'm not eligible for all these thousands of different prescriptions that they have at no charge. I'm not eligible for some of the telehealth programs that they have. I did everything by the book that I was told to do. We had to nominate all our doctors up front. We had to go and provide all their information to this company. I didn't even get a physical health insurance card for 45 days. I took 80 days to hear back from anybody about some of the doctors I nominated. Some of the doctors I nominated, they only entered into a 6-month contract. Some entered into a 2-year contract. I don't know if I have to follow up with that to see when those contracts run out. I go to Larchmont or South Jersey Radiology. They don't accept the insurance. I have to pay like $13.50 for testing coming up. So it's just, that's a lot of money to put out of pocket. And they're well-known companies and they don't accept this insurance. So we've got to pay that up front. And then I know some people it's taken months to get their money back. So I just want to make you aware of the age of discrimination, because according to the employee handbooks and all, it says fringe benefits and everything else, you can't discriminate. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time? Madam Mayor, if you want to
Host.
ask online.
Yeah, host.
All right, Maddie Mallory.
Go ahead, Ms. Mallory. Please state your name and address for the record. Ms. Mallory?
Good evening, Maddie Mallory, Hudson Place. And speaking of old business, I have several concerns. One question is, how will the trash can policy be enforced? Because I notice that there are still quite a few houses around that place their trash and recycle containers in front of their houses. So just wanted to know, how do you plan to enforce that policy? The other is, if possible, I'd like a review on the food truck ordinance, because I'm not sure as to who makes the decision as to where the food trucks should be located in town. I was surprised last Friday when I was leaving town on Beverly Rancocas Road to see a food truck parked in front of the ATAP building. This is a facility that I thought that mainly catered to children. And again, I was surprised to see a food truck parked there. The other thing is, I'm sorry to hear that the contractors for the turf field did not include the track because I'm afraid that our taxes are going to go up again. And the other thing that concerns me about the turf field is that we could have gotten sponsors. We have many athletes that graduated from Willingboro. And the fact that we did not reach out to them to help sponsor this project is of deep concern to me. And again, I hope it doesn't mean that our taxes are going to go up again. The other thing, there was a mention about leaf collection. And I noticed on Charleston Road between Kennedy Way and Van Sciver, there are quite a few leaves that are still on the side of the street that have not been collected. And I'm wondering, when will this take place? The other thing that I noticed is that on Martin Luther King Drive, there was a sign announcing Santa Claus is coming to town. But I have been asking for years if we could have a sign on Charleston Road between Kennedy Way and Van Sciver stating that the speed limit is 25 miles per hour. Because again, when I pull out onto Charleston Road and look in my mirror, there's somebody right in my rear end. It happened again today, and it's very concerning that we put more emphasis on Santa Claus is coming to town than putting a sign on Charleston Road between Kennedy Way and Van Sciver that the speed limit is 25 miles per hour. And on that note, I hope everyone has a pleasant holiday, and I'm done with my comments.
Thank you, Ms. Mallory.
All right, Deb Trawick.
Go ahead, Ms. Deb.
Ms. Trawick, if you're
Ms. Deb Trawick?
speaking-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're muted.
Madam Mayor, if you should wish, can we come back to Ms. Trawick?
Yes.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak online?
Ms. Dilworth is seen.
Yes, Shirley Dilworth.
Go right ahead, Ms. Dilworth. Please state your name and address for the record. Ms. Dilworth?
Good evening, all. Shirley Dilworth, Newport Lane. I just have a few things that I would like to, share with the council and with the public. One of the things that I'm concerned about is the amount of uncollected leaves in the township. As you know, the way the leaf collection has really created messy roads, in the township, especially in my part. The leaves that have not been collected have been, distributed into the street by wind and rain, and a lot of debris collected, inside of the piles of leaves. And a lot of the residents, they don't follow the rules in terms of piling the leaves, on the curb. They rake them in the street. And now we have water that is standing in the street. So it has really created a lot of messy situation. Going forward, I hope DPW will do a better job of collecting leaves. So after the leaves are collected, and I also hope that DPW will, come out with the street sweeper, because the streets are already messy and muddy. And I'm afraid they're going to be even more messy and muddy, after they finish the job. I like to thank, Mr. Harris and the council for implementing the Clean Community campaign. I notice in certain areas it seems to be working very well. In other areas, it is not. Okay, in on Van Skyver Parkway between Sunset Road and Kennedy. I don't know if this gentleman works for the township, but when he's out there with his brightly colored vest on, he does an excellent job of cleaning, okay, the grass, okay, along the inner part of the driveway. And he's also out there with his leaf blower, okay, just cleaning the street. I don't know who he is, but I'd like to say thank you for the good work that he does. It really makes me feel good when I see that our streets are clean. And I hope we will continue with the Clean Community campaign, but I hope we can do a much better job of encouraging the entire community to participate in that. And one last thing that I am concerned about is leasing banquet space at the Kennedy Center. Now, my family tried to lease space at the Kennedy Center in the fall of the year, and we had a great deal of difficulty with that. We were never able to get an appointment to look at the space at the Kennedy Center, and we just basically got the runaround, okay? And so going forward, I hope those kinks can be worked out. We are 50-plus-year residents in this township, and we wanted to use the Kennedy Center, but unfortunately, we were unable to do so. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know that the restaurant, the Smokehouse Restaurant, okay,
Excuse me, ma'am, that is your time. That is 4 minutes.
Town Center. Now, you cut me off, but I noticed you did not cut other people off. But thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
I apologize, Ms. Dilworth. That is my error. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak?
We could circle back to Deb.
Ms. Deb?
You're on.
Okay. Ms. Tarina Williams.
Go right ahead, Ms. Williams. Please state your name and address for the record. Ms. Williams?
Good evening. Tarina Williams, 8 Botany Circle. Good evening, Mayor McIntosh, Deputy Mayor Whitfield, fellow council members, and Willingboro residents, and of course, Township Manager Harris and Clerk. 2 announcements that I would like to make. This Saturday, December 23rd, will be Willingboro Seventh-day Adventist Church's annual Music Day. The wonder of his birth will be our theme. There'll be a wide array of singers and instrumentalists, and we'd warmly welcome anyone who would like to attend our services. Our address where we worship is at 201 Veterans Parkway, and services begin at 11 a.m. and lunch will be served afterwards. Special congratulations to the officers that were sworn in today. And greatly appreciate your dedicated service, and it's really nice that you guys were in the police academy and then now you're officially officers. May God richly bless you and your family. Another announcement I wanted to make is that the Volunteer Center of Burlington County is looking for different projects, MLK Day Unity Celebration Video Projects on behalf of the Burlington County MLK Day Unity Celebration Committee. We'd are looking for videos reflecting on the theme Live, Love, and Serve as it relates to the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The submissions can be a personal message, a song, a poem, a dance, and a compilation of videos. The length of the video is 60 seconds, and for more details, you can go to vcobc.org and encourage as many people as possible to participate in this wonderful event. Submissions are due on January 8th. And I really love this theme, and it truly reflects what we at Willingboro Township like to do: live, love, and serve. So please be encouraged as many people as possible to participate. I was able to congratulate the officers, but I remember the last meeting I was supposed to congratulate Councilwoman Dr. Tiffany Worthy on her recent award, as well as Miss Reva Foster. You're such dedicated women who truly reflect loving and serving. So I'm so happy for you, and may God continue to richly bless you and the priceless service that you give to our community and to the departments that you serve in. With the time that I have left, just want to say thank you so much for everyone's dedicated service throughout the course of 2023. May God richly bless you with a happy holiday and a prosperous new year. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Oh, you're welcome, Mayor McIntosh.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time?
Yes, Beulah Williams.
Okay. Go.
Wait. We have
Ms. Williams?
Ms. Williams, yes.
Go right ahead, Ms. Williams. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. This is Beulah Williams, 8 Botany Circle. Good evening, Mayor McIntosh. Good evening, Deputy Mayor, council members, manager, and everyone else. Good evening. I must apologize. Last week, I got the last council meeting, I got the wrong information that there were drugs being sold up at the wrong venue. Let's put it there, too close to the school, and I was so upset. And by the time I was set straight by our mayor and so on, there was no way to apologize. So I'm apologizing now. Next time I check my facts before I come and get angry at the council for not being diligent. So I apologize. Now, and also I second congratulating Councilwoman Worthy and Ms. Foster for their awards. When you do good work for the community, you deserve to be complimented. So kudos for you. And I appreciate the service of, the council for our community. I was wondering though, with the manager's budget, there were different instances where I noticed he said we have to adjust our original figures, and we're adding a 10,000 here and a 1,000 there and so on. Does that mean that our taxes will go up after all? Because, it was really touted that the budget remains the same, no new taxes. So I would like that addressed, please. I congratulate the new police officers. It's a dangerous job. We pray for you all the time. And may the Lord keep you safe, and, just keep you safe as you work towards making our community a safer community. One of the ladies who spoke about the health care and not getting enough coverage. My heart goes out to her. I know she works very hard, Gwen. She works very hard for our community, and not being able to get, proper medical care That's no good for anyone. So I pray that whatever needs to be done will be done. So the safety of our workers will not be overlooked. Maybe overlooked is not a good word, but you know, we all need good care, medical care. Work hard, medical care is a must. So please do something about it, whatever can be done. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Whatever you do during the holidays, please keep safe and may God continue to richly bless you. Yes, I'll second the music day and a good lunch. Veterans, whoever, come on out on Saturday and enjoy the day with us. God bless you. Good night. You're welcome, Mayor.
Does anybody want to speak on behalf of Ms. Trawick?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda Exum, and I am the Vice President of the ASME Union. And I stand before you to speak on behalf of one of our e-board members, Debbie Trawick. But although I'm speaking on behalf of her, I do stand in agreement with her. What she says is, she did text me what she wanted to say. Let's just see. She just wants to piggyback off of what the President, George said, that when we had a meeting in October, we had plenty of employees say that they were afraid to make an appointment with doctors because he was going to get denied. They would be denied for coverage. And she's said that she's sad and her heart is hurting, aching, and our heart hurts and ache for the employees who are not able to get the coverage and are afraid to go to doctors from being, afraid of being turned down when they go to doctors to get the service that they need. And I too am afraid to go to doctors. So I try not to even use this insurance. Not to take away from Mr. Harris, because I know he is trying. We did meet with him and, he is trying, but even still, this is not an insurance plan that we are in favor of. I understand wanting to help as far as cutting costs, but some things you shouldn't compromise with, which is the health of the employees. So me, myself personally, along with the entire ASME union, we would be content with going back to the state health benefit plan, even if it does cost us more, because there were no worries with that. The worries that we have with this new plan, and yes, I do know that it's a third-party plan and that is self-funded by the township, but we just prefer just going back to the state health benefit plan, which was, very simple in dealing with and just smooth sailing. You go to the doctor's office, you give them your card, you pay your copay, and then you're seen. You don't have to stand there for 20, 30 an hour trying to see if they're going to accept the insurance or not, the coverage. So we're all in favor of returning. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Axel. Anyone else for public comments? All right, public comment is now closed. All right, got some things to address today. We'll start with the, I know we've talked a lot about the insurance, the healthcare. So we have Mr. Brown, Ms. Lane, Ms. Helen, and I apologize for not getting your last name, Ms. Helen, and Ms. Amanda. They all had some issues that I think, we do need to investigate or, look over again in full. And I don't know if any other council member has anything else to add to that. I think we will revisit. And this would have to be an executive session, I'm assuming. Or
if we're going to talk about the number one, I think probably you need to get Labor Council involved, who was involved.
Right,
in
right. So
giving
he's
the
not here
original
today.
Opinions associated with that.
Right.
But if you're gonna talk about the nuts and bolts of what you can legally do and ask for advice on that, yes, I would suggest that be in closed session.
Okay. And, I do appreciate, all those members coming and standing before council to let us know of your concerns and the grievances. That is the right way to come and stand before us. But we will continue our conversation as a council with Mr. Harris, just to see, how we can kind of smooth that out as to the best of our ability. Is everybody okay with that? And to have a timeline? Yeah.
I know we were looking at, asked Mr. Crook to look into the open enrollment, to see what some
Right.
of the options were, which
Mhm.
would help us guide ourselves towards a timeline.
Yeah, I think once we know what that is, that will, as Councilman has indicated, that will drive the time.
The
frame.
timeline,
So
right,
I
that's
would-
fine.
I
I can
agree,
go.
there should be a time frame, and we'll figure out what that can reasonably be.
And you can give that to all council members for there, okay.
So, to, Mr. Crook's point, with regards to, Lester Taylor, who handled it, don't you think we should contact him?
He's gonna loop him in.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
gonna
he's
loop
gonna
him
do
in.
it.
Reach out to Larry.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought you were saying you were gonna do it.
no, he's gonna loop.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it.
Yep. Also, Mr. Brantley and his concerns on veteran affairs. Is there anything from that you can?
So I did have a conversation with Mr. Brantley. We did have a conversation about a veteran service officer. Those are things that are a future consideration as we transition into 2024, and some realignment in different departments and things like that as well. That position was actually something that I wrote potentially into the salary ordinance for 2024. So those are things that we will discuss with the governing body.
So we are making moves to address, some further concerns of our veteran population.
Correct.
And can I just to
Go ahead,
add to that with regards to the VA service officer, we had one. And I think that it's definitely something that we should have here. And I believe it was more designed, like it was like a stipend or something or a position. So is that what you mean? Like you put it in the 2024 as a position you pay for, like an employee or like a stipend position? What did you put in?
Well, all compensation needs to be put into a salary ordinance in some type of structure. So that's a figure that we are putting into the salary ordinance as potential compensation for anyone who fills that role. He's not going to be an employee.
Okay.
If he were an employee, then he would fall under reunion, and those would be the levels of compensation.
For sure.
So outside of that, we would have to establish some form of level of compensation in the salary ordinance.
Okay, so I was just.
Or
asking, you
ABA
put that in-
officer?
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to clarify. Did you put that in for 2024 or you're going to put it in?
Something that we're writing into
Oh.
the 2024 salary ordinance, which would have to be presented, discussed with the governing body and presented in 2024.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Miss Maddie Mallory. She had some concerns about the code enforcement for how people are placing, trash or recyclables in the trash and vice versa.
Now, her question was who enforces the trash can policy? That's correct. It's code enforcement. And they will continue to enforce those policies. She also asked about the food truck. Those food truck licenses are distributed through the township clerk's office.
Mm.
So if there's some review of the ordinance that needs to take place, is my understanding is that a food truck cannot be on township or public property. Other than that, if it's on private property and they contract with the property owner, they can place a food truck there and the license would be put through the township clerk's office.
Yep, thank you. You had something?
Maybe you're gonna get to it, but there was one other thing she had asked about.
Right, there's a couple. The leaf collection, we had that from a couple of our residents. Can we just speak to the leaf collection effort? I know we're continuing to pick up leaves, but do we have a strategy? Cause there are some more leaves, but
Absolutely. The DPW will be continuing to pick up leaves throughout
January.
the months, January, February, until the snow comes and they can't collect leaves any longer. So they're continuing to pick up leaves. They've gone through, I believe, the first 2 cycles and are repeating their cycle again. And, you know, and it's, as a matter of fact, and I'll just put this out as a point, DPW was very celebratory because last week they collected more leaves in one day than they ever had before in the history of Willingboro leaf collection. So, you know, to say that the leaves aren't being collected is not factual.
no, I think they're doing a solid job, but there are a lot of leaves out.
But there are a
still.
lot of leaves,
And that
yes.
became apparent yesterday. That became apparent yesterday when, you know, with the flooding. But, and also the enforcement of the placement of where people are putting the leaves. I think that's causing a big
Putting them in the
issue.
curb line instead of on the
Right,
curb.
right.
it's
And I just think
problematic.
that was apparent yesterday, you know, it was just exasperated yesterday. As I'm driving around, I can definitely see where, you know, I think they did a stellar job picking up the leaves. And I told you that.
give
When I
us-
watched them out.
Just
you
give us
know.
a little time to get it cleaned up.
No, I understand, but I think we just have to update the public because people in different parks don't necessarily know that they collected record-breaking, you know, amount of leaves in Country Club
Right.
per se. So just some updates, I think is fair for the public
Absolutely.
to know. Also, Ms. Mallory, the turf field. She had a question about the turf field track. Sponsorships, yes, sponsorships. You haven't, no, we did our do you want to speak to that?
I don't know if the turf field is going to raise the taxes. There are a lot of elements that go into tax increases, and the turf field in itself may have no bearing on the taxes at all.
And we've been putting away through our capital, correct, for the turf field.
That is correct. So what actually goes onto the tax line is the amount of down payment that is required to fund those capital ordinances. So the more we spend, then the greater that down payment requirement is, but we're in pretty good shape financially as a community.
You know, and I will reiterate over the last, 4 years, taxes on, our end, taxes have gone up minimal and then stayed flat and went down. So, I think I still want to, shout out the council for and administration and our departments for making that happen. And I think we always have to toot that quite often because that is a fact. So, and hopefully where we're going to go, the tangent for the future is still the same.
Mhm.
The near future, I'll say.
Right,
Okay.
we're in alignment there.
Okay. And Ms. Mallory also mentioned some speed issues on Charleston.
So she wants a speed limit sign on Charleston. I'll talk to.
Don't we have a speed limit? Speed limits on-
Specifically there, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Captain Bucks.
Yeah, there's signs there, but we'll move our speed trailers there that flash and they collect data and so on and so forth. But we'll have them there by tomorrow. At least one of them there.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Dilworth, again, the leaf strategy, the leaf effort, she was concerned about that and where the leaves were laying in the street. She did give kudos for the clean community.
Mhm.
And I'll agree with her. The Van Sciver Sunset Road, that looks really good. So I'm not sure if that's who that is. That's making sure that's pruned nicely on Van Sciver and Sunset, I believe she said.
That is a particular gentleman who recently moved into the community, and that his personal contribution to his community that he feels personally desirable to go and trim and clean up his community. So that is one particular individual who is doing that.
Okay.
Can he get a lawnmower?
No liability. No.
No, we
No.
tried to recognize him publicly, but he
doesn't want-
wasn't,
yeah.
doesn't want to be recognized publicly.
You left him.
Give him a
And
lawnmower.
also, she had some concerns about the leasing the banquet space. And I guess the procedure.
I'll defer that to Ms. Bolden, because, they're the ones that, I don't know what the
Right.
particular instance was, so I'll.
And can we
double
take care,
check
we can take
with-
care of that offline
Yeah.
and just, sure. Mm-hmm. And she said she couldn't get an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, so just, can we follow up with her just to smooth that out and just make sure? Okay, gotcha. All right, and Miss Williams, if she did say, her annual Music Day event this Saturday. So if anyone's interested, please attend that. The Seventh-day Adventists do many things for our community and have many, celebrations and, encouragement for our residents, especially our veterans, and for the whole, township. So I think, if anyone can make it to one of their events, I think, that it would be nice. They do great events, very often throughout the community. Also, Miss Beulah Williams, again, I think everyone extends a congratulations to our Dr. Worthy and Miss Reva Foster, for the most influential, African-American leaders by South Jersey Journal, which is a huge deal, I believe. And so just want to again, put that on the record again, as, you represent Willingboro very well. So, and we appreciate that. And I think that was it. Did I miss anything?
Ms. Beulah Williams, she just had a question about the adjustments to
Yes.
the different contracts. No, those aren't going to increase taxes. Those are just, so a few years ago, the state made some modifications and required that every contract, the resolutions include a not to exceed amount and anticipate amount not to exceed for that contract. Sometimes we do go over, and that's why we increased the not to exceed amount, but we are still well within our budget lines for 2023. We're not even close. So to have.
So it doesn't increase taxes?
Correct.
Okay.
Simple and straight, right?
Thank you. Was there anything else that I may have missed? Okay, moving on to council comment. Does any council have comment?
Of course I
Yes.
do.
Councilman Anderson?
As
Thank you,
usual,
Madam
just
Clerk.
want to thank the community for their attendance. Thank you for the employees of the ASME union for coming forth, allowing your voices to be heard in front of council. Congratulations to the new officers that were sworn in. I'd like to thank my council colleagues and the administration for another successful year, and happy holidays to all.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson.
Indeed, congratulations to the newly appointed officers. I'm super excited that they were products of Willingboro, and I love to know the story that they also participated in the youth program that we have here for the fire department and police department. And if we could actually post that on our Facebook, that specific story specifically to that, I think that would be great, and on our website. Just wanted to not to keep you too much longer, but I'm hoping that we get to the bottom of the health plan issue, and your words mean a lot to all of us, I would say, as myself. So we're going to work on getting that situated. And outside of that, I wish everyone also a happy holiday, and I guess we'll see you next year. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Pearl. Dr. Worthy?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I echo the comments of my colleagues. Looking forward to a great 2024. I do want to say thank you again to the employees for coming out. Your voice makes a difference. We need to hear from you, and we really appreciate the fact that you use the proper channels to be able to have the conversation. So thank you for that. I do want to extend a congratulations to Lieutenant Don Bankston and to Councilman Nat Anderson. Each year, All Things Are Possible Foundation hosts a community service. Y'all couldn't see Councilman Perone is popping rubber bands into the crowd. She's shooting out rubber bands. I'm sorry. Oh, but I'm reclaiming my time. So ATAP Foundation does these Kwanzaa Service Community Awards each year, and the nominations come in from community members across Burlington County, and we got a lot in, and there's an entire committee of people that evaluate the different nominations. And Lieutenant Don Bankston and Councilman Nat Anderson were honored December 8th at the Madison in Riverside, and we had about 200 people come out to recognize them. Also, Will Weston, who's in the audience, also was awarded for his work with the NAACP. It was a wonderful affair, and it was just nice to see Willingboro's own. There were people throughout Burlington County recognized, but to see Willingboro's own recognized was really powerful. So want to say thanks for everyone who came out, and looking forward to closing out the year strong and to all the initiatives in 2024. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Worthy. Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to echo some of the same sentiments. Thank you to the employees of the ASME union that came out to speak tonight. Your voices have been heard, and we'll definitely take all of your inputs into consideration as we find a mutual beneficial way to move forward in this matter. Also, congratulations to the 5 new police officers. It's so exciting to see our own be added to our force, police officers that have a heart for Willingboro and the work of public safety that we do here. So that's always great to see. I'd like to thank my council colleagues for a successful 2023 year. So many projects have moved forward and have done great benefits for Willingboro, and looking forward to the continued success of the council. And also thank you to Mr. Harris for his leadership of the township and the municipality and getting things moving and continuing to keep Willingboro strong. So thank you for all of your service. That is all I have. Oh, happy holidays and happy New Year. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd just like to close out and say happy holidays to everyone. And again, our employees, our administration, and obviously the council is, I really appreciate everyone. I think we've made great strides over the last couple of years. It's been my pleasure being the mayor and an honor being the mayor for the last couple of years. Thank you. And I feel like we will close out strong. Just want to keep, as we're going through the holiday season, just want to keep in mind that budget season is still upon us. For our 3 entity, for at least the school board, we're going to do our budget analysis and budget findings next year, in January. Yeah. Okay. Also, since the school board is a big part of our taxes, make sure you tune in over there also. And I apologize, I don't have the schedule, but there's definitely online. And they also do have a survey for the average resident to go on and give your input you got that? Okay. So I think that would be a good idea to do over at the school board, just to make sure your voice is heard. But again, make sure we go over there because they are a big part of our budget. So I don't want them to be lost in the sauce over after the new year. And again, our reorganization is January 2nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. and it will be at the Kennedy Center. So please have a happy new year. Oh, I forgot. Okay, yes, let me rewind a little bit. They did remind me that we did just name our gymnasium after Crystal Langhorn, who was a lead scorer. She was in the WNBA. So I think the gymnasium looks phenomenal. So that was part of the investment for Willingboro High School. It was a needed overhaul. So make sure you check out the basketball games. We are invited, the community is invited to all the high school basketball games. Again, check the schedule online. But that was a great event and she was really happy. I think she's doing some training events for our youth over there, which I think is really good. So also, before I forget, the MUA, the MUA meeting is tomorrow at 6 p.m. online. So check that out too. That's another entity. If people have concerns about the water, that is the entity to contact and be aware what's going on. With that said, happy holidays to everyone. Please have a safe and happy new year. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if there's an executive session as needed, if there's a motion to go into executive session. Sorry, it's moved by?
So moved.
Moved by Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Anderson, second by Perone. I'll call the roll. Councilman Anderson,
Personnel.
or may I say, all say aye?
He's
Yeah, do a statement.
he's gonna have.
Thank you.
Your mic is on.
The reason for executive
Under
session?
the Open Public Meetings Act, we need to state the reason for it. So my understanding is it has to do with professional appointments, which are contracts. So that's the reason.
I'll just reiterate that again for the record, because so that the microphone picks it up. That is for the purpose of professional appointments and contracts. Thank you.
Thanks.
And with that said,
Roll
call
call.
the roll. Councilman Anderson, once again.
Yes.
Councilwoman Perot,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh. Motion carried. We do not anticipate a vote coming out, right?
You're doing it.
Okay.
Doing it reorg, so, yeah.
I'm so sorry. Did I hit you with that?
I need a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
Second?
I'll say aye.
Wait,
Is there any opposed?
no.
None opposed? Madam Mayor, if there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
I'll say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? None opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Time,
Time is, there's one there. I
ten
have
28.
10, yeah, I had 10:30. Okay.
We're legal.
Thank you, Sean. We're all set.
Just so y'all know, I'll be taking this down, tomorrow. This is